Okay, introducing my next special guest onto my show. We've had this lady on previously on my show, and why not to invite her back again? We have the delightful Judith Owen joining me on my radio show. How are we doing today, Judith?
Hi, so good to see you again. I'm great. Thank you. I like that backdrop. My good
Y-
grief. Like,
Yes,
looks like my
I know.
room.
Yeah, I made an effort because I know you're from that side now. You're based over New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm sitting right here, right now in the French Quarter. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, how beautiful! Now, I'm here to talk about your latest album. Am I right? It's called Comes Alive.
It's Judith Owen Comes Alive. Yeah.
Right, brilliant.
Uh, yeah. Whole
And
title, quite simply, because even though you would have sworn I was alive beforehand, but actually what it means is it's me live. It's a live album, live record, and that's really what it is.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent. And it's got a collection of songs I'm going to touch on. I think your latest release is Caledonia, but the one we're going to talk about before that is Lady Be Good.
Yeah, it's just it's such a joy. It's how I started. I'll tell you what happened. It was, last time I was on, I was talking about Come On and Get It, which was the collection of my favorite unapologetic ladies from the 40s and 50s, jazz and blues American. And this is some of those songs that were performed live, but then many more. And it was January of this year at a place, an incredibly prestigious venue called Marion's in Bern, Switzerland, where all the greats have played, from Oscar Peterson to Ella and, everybody, Dizzy, the lot. It's an extraordinary place. And so I decided to record it because I thought, well, why not? I'd been on the road performing songs from Come On and Get It. And of course, they only get better and better and better, more exciting the more you play them. And then I thought, okay, well, it'll be the next chapter of songs that really, really influenced me as a kid, that I loved so much as a child. So then, of course, you've got the Ella Fitzgeralds and as in Lady Be Good, of course, the Sarah Vaughan stuff, Louis Jordan, Nina Simone, early Aretha Franklin, very gospel, the very earliest of her stuff. So it's a whole, and of course, some Frank Sinatra as well. So it's an array of those people that really, really then next stage of influence. And then I get to the piano myself as well, which is, of course, what I've been doing before doing this on my jazz odyssey, as I like to call it. But so I get back to doing that, and so that was the live show that we did, 11 shows in 5 nights. It was really quite something. And so this album is the most exciting and thrilling little roller coaster ride of those performances. And it's accompanied, of course, by the YouTube videos, which is, from those shows, you get to see everything. So that's what it is. And it's again, I can't wait to go out and play
That's
this
that,
album.
that's so amazing. And you're capturing the jazz sound and bringing it into the 21st century and the 2020s.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe that, when you live in New Orleans, you realize that there's all kinds of music that's played here, but jazz is not some like museum piece. Jazz is a living, live, thrilling uh, 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 animal. I don't know what you call it, but it's very much a living thing, and it's not something that's in the past. It's always around you in whatever form, and it's crossover, and there's different hybrids of it and different ways of doing it. But it's a very much alive and kicking and contemporary. And so for me, I've got a very rock and roll, even though I'm a very classical person, I've still got a very rock and roll attitude about the way that I perform this music. And when I say that, what I mean is I am a showman. I believe in being a real uh, an entertainer and a powerful performer with this electric performances
Mm.
live. And I think this is what this music means to me. It's about wanting to jump out of your seat and dance around the room. It's about what being elevated, being lifted up. And I think that's what it's always meant to me. All this music has always meant that it really just makes me feel good to be alive. And so that's my job. And I view it as being a very contemporary, fresh, electric rock and roll experience. I really do. I always have done. And so I bring that attitude to these shows. And I think that's why it works so well, and why it really appeals to such a young audience, because it has a vitality to it. It really
Ex-
does.
Yeah, just speaking with you today and previous interviews, you can really feel your passion coming across. It means a lot to you.
It does. I mean, I'm I'm a passionate person, and all the music that I write, the music I perform, the music, whether it be jazz or classical, whatever it is, I think music is what lifts us up and inspires us in life. And I think that it gives us permission to feel the big feelings in life, the big stuff, whether it be making you want to cry, bringing you to tears, or making you feel elated. Like I said, like you want to just
Mm,
dance down the street. That's what it's about. And it's the connectivity. It's about a certain conversation that happens not just between me and the callers, my band on stage, which is so particular to New Orleans, where they're literally is calling out to each other. Literally, you can hear on the record, Jameson Ross on drums, who's amazing drummer and snarky puppy drummer and amazing artist in his own right. He shouts at me, "Say it, Jude," because it's just like the thing, he's hearing me do something he loves, and he's like calling. That's what people in New Orleans do. That's the tradition. Is you if you like what someone's doing, you call at them, whether you're in the audience or on stage. And I think that communication on stage also is is within the audience too. The audience and I and my players, we are in conversation. And that's what I love about music. It doesn't mean you're always going to be, shouting out, certainly not in a classical sense. But the point of music is that it wraps you up in feeling, in emotions, in passion. That's if it's good. And it just carries you away. And it does that for the performer, and it does that for the audience member. And that is this incredible conversation and collaboration that you have as people in that room, in that shared experience. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching a classical performance down here at the concert hall here, the Orpheum, and it was Gershwin's piano concerto. And it's the same thing. The passion that was literally coming across like some rolling storm that was, it was like a fog covering, rolling off the stage into the audience. Everybody was in a state of heightened joy. Everyone was, we're all one. And I think for me, that is the power. That's why I'm so passionate.
mm,
Music allows us to be a community of players and listeners. We are all one. And this is a very rare thing to feel in
mm.
this present time, in these strange
Yeah.
times and days. To have
So
that communication is very rare.
yeah, so true. One word which comes to mind, which you may like, is euphoria.
Yes, there's the word. It's euphoric. And I must admit, I feel euphoric when I sing. And somebody said to me once, "What does it feel like to sing?" And I said, feels like flying. And that's the word, is euphoria.
Mm.
It feels like I am out, it's like an out of body experience. And that is euphoric. And that's why people, it's like when I used to come down here and go to Jazz Fest, which I now happily play out, thank God, goodness, it's amazing. But I would never leave the gospel tent because all I wanted to hear was that euphoric gospel music, of church music, as in black church
Mm.
music, where you literally feel like your soul has gone to a higher place. So it doesn't matter what you believe in, you're in a state of euphoria. And I think that's a very, very good description, a very good word to use.
Yeah, and moving on to your next single, I believe it's called Caledonia.
Mhm.
Just briefly, any reference or relation to Scotland at all on this one?
Absolutely not. But I tell you what it is. It's and that's a great way of saying it. It should be, but it's pronounced Caldonia because of course it's New Orleans. I heard this as a kid. Um, and it was the Louis Jordan version. Now, Louis Jordan was the king of like juke joint, phenomenal. He was like the precursor to the rock and roll. He had the rock and roll attitude and vibe, and it was right before the rock and roll era. And it was, if you didn't get up and dance to it, you must be dead. That's how extraordinary it was. But this song, Caldonia, it's the name of a woman. And it's like walking with my baby. She's got great big feet. She's long, lean, and lanky, and had nothing to eat, but she's my baby, and I love her just the same. Caldonia. So it's Cal apostrophe Donia. Now the guys, I was singing Caledonia, of course, because I'm an idiot. But the guys in my band were like, "Jude, It's Caldonia. So they taught me, they schooled me in how to actually pronounce it properly in a New Orleans way. And that's Louis Jordan. If you've never heard of him and you don't know him, check him out. Again, an unsung hero, a treasure, an American treasure who was bridging the gap. He was bridging between jazz and blues, R&B, I guess, but it's more jazz and blues into the rock and roll period. And when you hear his music, you'll see what I mean. It's fabulous. So this is again, this is somebody I had as a kid, was singing in the car, with my family at the top of my lungs because it was so much joy. And Caldonia was definitely one of my favorites. But yeah, Scottish name, not a Scottish
Mm.
song. That's
And but yeah, thanks for going into detail about that. And the spinach song as well. I played that on one of my shows the other week. That's an interesting song title.
it's so there was a woman called Julia Lee, who I'm a big fan of. And she was the queen of double entendre and innuendo. Amazing woman at the piano, just a killer artist. And she was so fun, so brilliant, so naughty, so, just like, just everything about her was just a hoot. And she, she wrote the spinach song. I didn't like it the first time. It's about weed. It's actually about marijuana. And of course it would be, because spinach at that time in the 40s, 50s, we're talking Popeye and the idea that you would eat spinach and it would build you up, make you big and healthy. That was the whole thing. But of course, the spinach she was singing about was weed. And it's so funny. It's so marvelous that it would be that, of course, and that would be the hidden message. It was really, really risque in its time, but
Mm.
it's wonderful fun to sing.
And you've also got a cover version of I Put a Spell on You, if I'm right, as well on the album.
Yeah, I love Nina Simone. And again, a woman at the piano, started as a classical pianist. That was her whole desire, was to be a classical pianist. Starts playing in nightclubs to make a living. And we've all been there. That's what I did. And started singing because people were encouraging her to sing because they liked the way that she sang along and riffed along like to these songs. That's why she was not really wanting to be a singer. This is what's so extraordinary, but she kind of forced into it. So what I did with that as my arrangement, as me at the piano, I did something between her and Screaming Jay Hawkins's version of it, which is like out of this world. It's just like crazy. It's crazy how out there it is, if anybody knows that version. So I just wanted to take it to the true rock and roll place that I think it belongs in, with the blues, true blues guitar, real, like, just a powerful piano version, again rooted in those gospel chords. And it feels good to sing that song. It feels so good. And it's something that when when I'm doing the show, I wait until I wait and I wait and I wait, and everybody gets used to me being that woman in front, in control, and then I get to the piano and play that, and then it's like, then it goes to another level, and then we're off to another, to like a party really. But it's a thrill again to be able to, I was talking on another interview about how refreshing it is to be seeing artists go outside of the lane that they've been told they should stay in, and this is what artists do. You shouldn't ever have to stick in doing one thing your entire life just because your label or the industry or the business says that that's what you do and that's what they can sell. To be an artist means that you should be able to explore, move, grow, continue to be moving forward in life, always looking forward to learning more and trying more. And I think what's lovely about this album, what's lovely about doing this music, is that I'm constantly expanding. And then I'm also saying, no, but you see, I am also a pianist and a writer and an artist and something, I do many things, and I'm an actress and I'm a dancer and I'm doing all these things and I'm a performer and an entertainer. And I should be able to do all of this because that is the point of being an artist. That's what it's about. Um, And so it's really so I'm watching Jacob Collier, who does whatever he wants. Even if you want to go down to Beyonce doing a country record, I say good for you, and I applaud her, because nobody should tell you what you can or can't do. If you're great at what you do, as long as you're great, you should be able to do and go wherever you want.
Real. And just talk about some live dates on July the 9th. I believe that's a special date for the diary
Yep.
because you're at the Wilton's Music Hall playing.
I love that theatre so much. 180 years old, a true music hall, perfect for music like this and a show like this. Where it's got the red velvet curtains, and it's very louche and fabulous looking, and it is the perfect place, I think, because it's retro, it's old, it's chipped, it's got age on it, and what I'm doing and the music I'm doing has absolute classic written all over it, but it's here and now and fresh and vital, and it makes sense today. And I think it has the theatricality in an environment for this really theatrical event. And it's such a great night. I mean, the last time I think we spoke, last time before I was doing the Jazz Cafe, I think, in London. And it was one of my highlights of my career. I mean, not a huge space. It doesn't that's not the point. It was hundreds of people crammed into this space, all moving as one, all having the greatest time. It was the most brilliant, inclusive night I've ever experienced. Oh, utter joy, utter joy. And that's what this is all about.
And I just wanted to ask, people can purchase tickets by going to the wiltons.org.uk website for that
That
show.
is correct. And if you need to know anything else, of course, go to judithowen.net and everything will be there. And hearing this new album, Spotify, of course, iTunes, and then you can see the companion videos on YouTube, which to me is it's half of the piece.
Yeah.
You got to see this live. It's why I encourage people to come down and see it live. But it's also why I did this live album, because it's so, as you say, the euphoria is in the live performance.
That's amazing. Fantastic. I've just got time for one question quickly. How
Yeah.
would you describe Judith Owen in 3 words?
Oh, oh, you're being really cruel now. This is just frightening. Well, I'd say unapologetic,
Yeah,
joyful, hopeful.
fantastic. And very lovely speaking with you today on today's show. Thanks, Judith Owen.
Oh, you're
And
always a pleasure. Truly,
we'll
thank
get
you
we'll
very
get one
much.
of your album tracks played now. All right.
Brilliant. Thanks,
Brilliant.
my love.
Thank you very much. Nice speaking with you
Cheers,
today.
bye.
Judith Owen. Pleasure.